is Matt Connor. I am co-owner and head brewer at Frenzy Brewing. The vast majority of people involved in craft beer, whether it's breweries, brewery owners, brewery employees, festival goers, the customers walking in the door, no matter who it is, they're all nice. And they all look after each other. This industry is really interesting. We've gotten a ton of help from other breweries. Obviously, Angry Scotsman gave us the opportunity to brew our beer and get it in the market, which was huge. Vanessa House has helped us. Roughtail, Tony Tielli at Roughtail, and Blaine Stansel, they've both been amazing to us. When we were doing the business plan, we talked to every craft beer bar of significance in Oklahoma City, every brewery. I talked to almost every brewery owner just to pick their brains about the industry to make sure we knew what we were getting ourselves into. And every single one of them said, yes, come talk to me. A few of them I might have asked some questions that I probably shouldn't have asked, trying to get more information that I probably needed to get. But they were all very cordial and nice. And even now I still get emails from people occasionally saying, hey, I've got some extra cans. Do you need them? It's unlike no other industry. I can't think of another industry where people are this collaborative. I mean, we're small fish in a big pond. I was talking about this the other day with someone. The two biggest breweries in the United States own like 84% of the market, and it's AB InBev and then Miller Coors. There are over 8,000 operating breweries in the United States, and two of them have 84% of the market. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, there's no reason to question really why we all band together like we do. I mean, it's a war against the big guys, and we're slowly picking away at it. But the important thing is we're able to survive and help each other do it. I can't speak for Jeremy, but for Beth and I, it's huge. We've both lived here since, I've been here since 93. I think she moved here in 91. So, I grew up out in California, and I lived in Ohio, Virginia, Georgia, born in Indiana. So California really was my home until I got here. And pretty quickly we became, Edmond, Oklahomans would be the better way to put it. Definitely feels like this is home. I've been here now better part of my life, 26 years or so. And so, we looked at Oklahoma City for a long time. And the main reason was because, and I hate to say this, but Edmond just didn't have the cool factor that we were looking for. And we just were concerned it wouldn't be successful. So knowing that you can let kids into breweries, when we found that out, that's when we decided, we have to do Edmond. At that point, the Patriarch had taken off. Herd on Herd had started, which is the big street festival that they do here. And we knew once those things all kind of happened, we had to be here. And being first was a big deal. And quite honestly, we were worried there for a while that someone was going to get open before us. We had this weird feeling there was somebody under the radar that was doing something quietly. And of course, that didn't happen. But like I said earlier, I'm a worrier. But it's a big deal. And we're really proud of it. And being right in the middle of the old downtown area, that's where this town started, was also really big. We could have set up in an industrial park somewhere for a whole lot more money. But this, being down here and being amongst all of the cool stuff that's going on was a really critical part of what we're doing. A nice big open and airy tap room with plenty of comfortable seating. We've got a really nice bar with a lot of seating there as well. 24 taps. We're going to have quite a few beers on tap, or that's the goal. Problem we're having is we're selling through stuff so fast. It's, the small batches, we're already thinking about upgrading our small batch system to something a little bit bigger, but we've got a really nice seating area down a corridor that leads to the back of the building with where the restrooms are. And that corridor's got old historical photographs, so it's got a nice field down there. You can watch look out into the brewing space. If we're actually working out there, you can kind of see us doing that. You can see the beer fermenting, the blow-off buckets, all that's visible for customers. So, the expectation is for people to be able to come in and just be comfortable and have fun. Of the ones we have on tap currently, the Unspeakable Things is my favorite. It was a beer that I really didn't want to brew when New England IPAs became kind of all the rage. Traditional brewers we kind of don't like them because you do all these things to it to try to keep it hazy, and you don't want it to be clear, and it doesn't have the hop bitterness that IPAs typically have. In fact, a lot of people argue they're not even IPAs. I don't necessarily agree with that, but on this quest to try to make this other beer called Pink Thing, which is another one we have on tap, I had to brew a New England IPA for a base beer, and it turned out really great. And we've actually got the ability on the big system that we have to emulate the processes that we did as homebrewers to get the same beer. And as good as the beer was when we brewed at Angry Scotsman, I feel like what we're brewing here at the tap room is actually a little more representative of what we had when we homebrewed. So it's just a little bit better than I think what we had before. So, but my favorite probably of all of my beers, we were just talking about it a little while ago, is a Belgian Golden Strong called Infernum. I absolutely just love that beer. We're going to brew it eventually. We just haven't gotten around to it yet. Yeah, so we'll start with the game table. A friend of ours, he's doesn't do it full time, but he makes furniture, and mainly he works on does tables. His name's Stephen Perry. He's a great guy. Huge supporter. Him and his wife Sarissa are just big supporters of Frenzy, and have been for a long time. And we called him up and said, hey, Beth came up with this brilliant idea of having a game table. Most breweries have games for people to play, and we thought, why not just make a table that's kind of a central kind of piece of the tap room. And so my thought was, well, why don't we get Stephen to make it, and because that's what he does kind of as a hobby. And so we have this really cool table that's got these sliding drawers right underneath the tabletop that come out, and they're big. You can do jigsaw puzzles on them. And then on the top of the table, it did an inlay of wood with our logo. And then underneath, there's shelves for all of our games and stuff. And so far, we're getting people that are taking those big drawers out, and they're taking them to other tables, and they're sitting down and working puzzles. We had one group that sat here one night until they solved the puzzle, which was great. That's just them having a great time, and they were in here for a couple of hours, and it's kind of cool to see the first puzzle get solved. And we're going to get some cool puzzles made, historical photos of the building, and those will be in the rotation. So, the contactless payment is a new thing that we're doing through Arrived. Arrived is a point of sale system and merchant services, but it's a company built by brewers for breweries. It's really very specific to breweries. And with the app, you can actually come in, you can start your own tab before you even walk in the door. You walk in, set the tab up, and then you come up and say, I already have a tab, and order your beer and everything. And then when you're done at the end of the night, you can sit at your table and you can pay, you can put your tip on there or whatever you want to do, and then you walk out. You don't actually have to come up like on a busy night if there's a huge line. And that happens at some places. It'll get real busy. You'll start a tab, and then you want to leave, and then there's 10 people in line. We don't have to worry about that here if you have the app. So we love the customer interaction. It's not that we're trying to get away from interacting with people, but we're just giving those that want an alternative to paying in person to be able to do that. I have friends that will walk their tabs instead of waiting in line because most bars will just put it because they'll have their card on file and they'll just charge the card and add 20% gratuity. Well, with this app, you can kind of do the same thing, but you're more in control of it. So that sounded terrible when I said I have friends that walk their tabs.